Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. My name is Crystal and me and my husband are transforming our son's bedroom into a big boy room because both of our sons will be sharing this room to make room for their new little sister. We recently redid the closet area in this room and made a custom built-in closet and dresser for them. I'll leave the link to that video below if you haven't seen that yet. And the first thing we did in this room was trim out the windows, and we did a traditional craftsman style trim on them, which matches the trim that we did in our downstairs bedroom. I also have a video on how to do window trim kind of like this, and I'll leave the link to that below as well. This is a paint edger, and it is by far the best tool that you can have if you're going to paint a room. You dip it in paint and you literally just spread it across your edges, and it basically takes out the need to cut in with like a brush. And I'm only painting the top portion of these walls because the board and batten is going to be about 5 feet, so I didn't need to waste paint painting the bottom. Also, this paint color is called Classic Gray by Benjamin Moore, and it is my absolute favorite kind of light gray white paint. Next to bright white like trim, or like you can see the closet here, it still looks different than white, but if you look at it straight on, it looks like white. It's just so beautiful. And now we're going to get into the actual board and batten. The first thing we're doing is taking off our baseboards. We will not be reusing these ones. If you will be reusing your baseboards, make sure you do this carefully. We have texture on our walls, so we are using a MDF backer board to make this perfectly smooth. You can skip this step if you want to make this a little more cheaper, or if you have smooth walls. We are just putting these in with a nail gun. I have seen people use liquid nails and nails on this, but we don't like really using the liquid nails because if we ever want to take this down, the drywall will be ruined with the liquid nails. But just by using nails, we could take this down and repair the wall pretty easily. If you are using any type of backer board to do board and batten, make sure that you are aware of where your pieces will match up, and that is where you will want to put a board so you can cover the seams. Now I'm moving on to priming the window trim, door trim, and the backer board. I'm using the Kills 2 all-purpose primer. I don't know if I would suggest priming the backer board. I ran into some issues when I was painting where I got some streaks and flashing, and I think it was due to priming it. So if you're going to do this project, possibly try on like a scrap piece to do the primer and your paint, and then one with just paint, and see what you like best. And now moving on to the actual paint of this board and batten. I am painting the backer board first because once we get the board pieces on, or the batten, I never know which one is which, but once we get the vertical pieces on, it's harder to paint the backing or like your middle sections because it's just such a tight space. So it's so much easier to paint all of this green and not have to worry about painting the middles after we install the batten parts. And now we're going in with baseboards. These are a 5x12, and it made it really easy because the length of this room, I believe, is like 11 feet. So we just cut off a little bit, and we use this for the top trim and the bottom trim. So the first thing you want to do for measuring for board and batten is to find your center of the wall. So you'll measure your whole wall and then divide by 2, and there's your center. From there, you can install your side pieces, so the like end trim pieces that are going to go on like the corners of your wall essentially, or by your door frame. And then from there, you're going to measure from the center to the end of the wall, divide by 2. You're going to have another center. So put up your board in the center, do it on the other side, and then from there you will do that as many times as you need boxes. So you're basically just cutting each box in half depending on how many, like the size of the boxes that you want. Once all the trim pieces are up, you want to use wood filler to fill in any seams and also any nail holes that I didn't show me doing it because it's just really boring to watch on camera. But after you sand your nail filler and wood filler, you do want to go in and caulk every single seam. So the top where it meets the wall, each piece of board that meets the batten, everything you want to caulk and make sure that there are no lines. And now I'm going over the batten with a brush and a roller and painting those. If you see those white marks on the walls, I kind of made a mistake and didn't fill the nail holes from Scott putting up the back panel. I didn't fill that before priming or painting those because I thought the paint would actually kind of like fill them. So made a mistake and had to fill them after I painted. And I think that resulted in some of the flashing I noticed on the paint because I had to go over those with another coat of paint. And then you can see where I've already painted, you can see those kind of show up. Learn from my mistake here and fill and sand everything before you paint anything. And the biggest tip I can give is to get the best quality paint that you can afford. What I mean by that is if you can afford to get a super high quality like Behr Marquee, then go for it. I think the main reason I had some flashing and just spots that I noticed personally is because we used a very low quality paint and I wish we would have just splurged on a better one. And I had to include some tape removal because it is just the most satisfying thing to me. One thing I wanted to show you was a slight mistake we made. We didn't calculate for the board and batten before we built the closet, and we had to cut this trim piece at an angle so that the door will open, but from far away you can't even tell that it was a mistake. And coming up next is going to be the reveal of the board and batten, and I just love the way it turned out, and I hope you guys did too. This little nook has turned out to be my favorite part of this entire room, and it's one thing I loved about this house when we first looked at it. I knew that it was going to be something really special one day, and I can't wait to show you what we did with it in the next video, which will be decorating this room and pulling everything together. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I can't wait for the next one.